we're going to go ahead and call this special session and budget workshop meeting together for the city of West Tawakoni, July 9th, 2026, 6:37 p.m. We'll start with invocation and pledge of allegiance. Ramsey, if you'd lead us, please.
Father, thank you for bringing us here this evening. We just ask that you be with us, you give us strength and wisdom to help the citizens of this town and make our city better. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll keep right on down. Next, number 4 is announcements. Council, do we have any announcements? Ramsey, announcements? No. Chad? Anything from the city? Okay, we'll keep on.
I'll take a minute to just point out that we had a very successful July 4th/3rd celebration, thanks to the contributions of many staff members and council members helping out. And I think people that showed up really had a good time, and we learned some lessons for next year.
There's nothing else. We'll move on. Number 5, citizens input related to agenda items, 3-minute time limit. Don't have anything. Move on to number 6, citizens input non-related to agenda items, 3-minute time limit. Don't have anything. Okay, we'll keep on going. Number 7, old business. Discussion and or action to approve ordinance number 331-06-09-2026, rules and regulations for the use of the public park within the city.
I think we got to talk to a whole bunch of this.
Yep. So everybody got a copy of the current and was asked to take a look.
Is there a printed copy right now?
I have a copy of the original, like the one that you guys have here. I also have Greg's comments here.
Can I have that one? I mean, if somebody,
You can have that one there.
I have it saved.
I do have a question. Why do we skip from section 4 to section 6?
4 to 6.
In the previous ordinance,
On the one that was sent out on the first page. There's no section 5.
I would imagine that at some point, section 5 was just taken out instead of updating the full ordinance, they just removed it.
The number 1 we need.
That or a.
But I think there's a section 5 on the back part. There's a section 5 right here.
Okay. Okay, so try to get some kind of order here. I see we got one document where we've got some changes.
I just have questions on some of it, but go ahead, Ramsey.
I've got kind of a philosophical question
Okay.
on this. It looks like to me that we're so focused on the fees and that sort of thing that we're making this really strict. I noticed, and it doesn't say it, but the way I read it is, if I take my grandson to his birthday and I go down to one of the pavilions without getting a permit here first, then I have committed a crime and I could be fined. And I think what seems reasonable to me is, if I go down there and I don't have that permit and I use the pavilion and somebody comes along and says, I did pay to use the pavilion, then I'd have to get up and leave. But that's not the way this reads.
That is the way it is supposed to be.
Okay.
The pavilions are supposed to be open, first come, first served, unless they are reserved.
But that's not the way it reads. And then the other piece of that is, how are we going to enforce that if we stick with the way it reads? Who enforces that? I mean, we cannot ask our police officers to go over and evict someone from a birthday party you know, in the middle of the afternoon on a Sunday, that, you know, or on a Saturday, we don't have the personnel or the ability to monitor who does and does not have a permit. But we do need to be able to enforce, if you have one, that it is in fact your pavilion. And we need a way to be able to let those people say, hey, I paid for this, I rented this, I have the documentation, and there needs to be some way to settle that dispute if the people that are there using it first come, first serve are unwilling to leave.
So in the past, when we had a park host would go out there and show that it was reserved. We don't have that. A lot of this was set up with the idea of it paying for that park host, basically.
So a process that we are trying to put in place, and we're kind of reworking this, is having a reserve sign put out the day before, the morning of. Kevin would go out and hang that at that pavilion if there's a time period that's reserved. So say it's reserved to John Smith from 8 to noon, but that's posted there, so that would help kind of deter the people that are going to use it. Yeah.
And I'm the same way around you. If we go out and we want to have something go on in the park, and we have a family reunion, we're saying we're going to meet at the park, and if there's an empty pavilion, we may, use it or whatever. I think that's perfectly acceptable, and that's the way we want the park to be used. I think the key part of this is we really ought to talk about how do we want the park to be used, and then let's figure out the rules based on how we want the park to be used.
Right.
So,
Now,
does anybody have, I feel like we ought to make motions on pieces of this that we agree on or we vote on, and then we adjust the ordinance to those motions.
And that's perfectly fine. We can take it step by step, making a motion that allows them to go back and.
Right, because I don't want to leave Mary in a position of not really knowing what we decided.
Correct.
Right? I think that's unfair to her. So, I'm in favor of going through, I don't think we need to go through page 1 and page 2, because those are basically just spelling out what the different titles and words mean.
Okay.
But then when you talk about the definitions, I think all of us know what the definitions are. But then when we get to,
Except the school.
the definition part of, you can't rent it unless you're a West Tawakoni ISD student, and since that doesn't apply, we need to fix that as well, right? But those are the things we need to go through and say, Mary, scratch this, Mary, add this, Mary, change this, so that then we get an ordinance that is true to what we want the park to be, as well as enforceable by our current staff, and is also, in my mind, inviting and a place that people in the city can use. Because I don't think the key here is to keep people out of the park. I think the key here is to get people to, when they come to the park, not have to worry about whether or not they've sat on the wrong picnic table.
We do have this on the agenda for Tuesday, right?
Yes.
So we can go through it tonight. Going to do a markup, and then
That's kind of my thought.
get you a final for Tuesday. I just want to get a clarification on your interpretation of the use of the pavilion. I guess y'all are referring to 4.001A, to be an office for any person to do any of the acts, blah, blah, blah. And then we got public gathering is number 1. Use of the pavilion, shade structure, and/or restrooms, including but not limited to birthday parties, family reunions, or private parties, or any organized planned event for a specific purpose without a permit. Is that what y'all are talking about, the use of the pavilion being an offense?
Yes.
So the language there, it is a little broad. It's a little, over encompassing. I think I would have a hard time justifying charging anyone with an offense for just showing up with their grandson and hanging out, because that doesn't really meet any of these definitions here under public gathering.
Yeah, but what if somebody did come up there and had a birthday party?
I got 20.
Okay, well then you should probably get a permit for that.
Yeah.
You would want,
I mean, if I wanted to.
Are you planning on being able to use that pavilion and keeping other people from using it?
I think that's the point.
I think that's what we're trying to decide.
Right.
And that's spelled out.
That's what's allowed here with the permit.
Right, yes, with a permit, yes, you've got it reserved, it's yours. If somebody's there, they gotta leave. But I just want it to be clear that if somebody's there without the permit and they're using it, and nobody else does have it reserved, that they're not doing something wrong.
Again, they would have to be meeting one of the things that's described here in order for it to be considered something wrong.
If you had a birthday, if somebody came up there with 6 people at a birthday party, and they were playing in the park, and they were under one of the pavilions, and it wasn't reserved, and they were just in the park, and it did not have a reservation, and no one else had a reservation for that, that is an offense in this word.
Is there something on the pavilion that tells them? Like, is there like a note? Or
No, there's nothing on the
How
pavilion.
would they
Not at
know?
the moment.
Yeah,
What they do in Dallas is if you've got to get the reservation, they give you, the park department gives you a certificate or
Yeah, we have permits
something
that are
that
given.
says, yes, you have it reserved from this time to this time.
to me, it sounds like we're trying to say you can't use the pavilion unless you have you can't have a birthday party in a pavilion unless you have a reservation. And I'm not sure that's the way I want to go.
Can you have an event with 50 people without a reservation?
I don't see why not.
So it's not about the number.
No,
It's about
no.
exclusive use.
It's about the fact that I have an expectation of having this available when I come.
Right.
If I am putting together a random softball game.
Right.
And I want to use the baseball field, I can go and put together a random softball game or practice or whatever, and I don't have to reserve the field. However, if I would like to make certain that from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Tuesday evening, I get the baseball field, then I will come make a reservation. And then if there is a random game there, I have the authority, not necessarily, I don't want to say it like I have the authority, but I have the paperwork that says I reserved it. You guys have to leave.
Mhm.
Is that?
No, that makes perfect sense. And there is a point to saying that a public gathering without a permit can become a nuisance, whether they expect to be exclusive or not. And it happens at a certain number of people or a certain amount of activity or, a certain amount of taking up space.
Fair.
And so that, I think, is what this is trying to define poorly. But I think that's the effort.
Yeah, I just would like it better worded to say, better worded so that it's more inviting and less ominous.
Okay. We can work on that.
We can make it more of a first come, first serve unless,
I'd also like it to be enforceable, because that's not enforceable right now, unless we call Paul or John or Colin, unless we call the cops. Who are we calling to go get somebody off there on Sunday?
Well, the only way to enforce an ordinance generally is through either law enforcement or code enforcement, and it's going to be one of those.
Yeah, and I don't believe we have staff or resources to do that.
Well,
Not saying we won't have staff,
I
we
agree
won't get
that
them.
I agree that we don't have staff to dedicate to enforcing this ordinance. But if it goes on our books as an ordinance, it's enforceable.
Sure. I'll reserve.
But I think it's important that we talk about when there are issues at the park, how we expect them to be
I think it's
resolved.
absolutely should be part of the ordinance.
Right.
And there should be some way for people to know who to call, what to do when there is a problem at the park. Because I believe that there are going to be a lot more people. I think we've already seen an increase in attendance and
Did your permit specify that stuff?
the permit, it's not gonna have it's not gonna have, we can reformat it to have the ordinance cited there and we can give them a copy of it, things of that nature.
Your ordinance, your permit
And-
could do that.
Yeah,
I
but
show up.
permit has
somebody's
like who
in
to
my
call,
spot, what do I do?
our
here's the number
rules.
that I call,
Yeah,
whatever.
so
Yeah,
the
and
permit
that's
does have
the
that,
perfect
yes.
thing to do. But then there also should be signage or information about how to reserve something
For sure.
in the park. So that when I do pull in, I have the understanding, because the way it's been for the last 20 years is not necessarily the way we want it to be for the next 20 years. So I think that we, should look at signage and those kinds of things for the park as well, to be able to, begin educating what the expectation is in the park.
And so to go back to our discussion about enforcement, your choices right now are police or code enforcement.
Which
That's
is
what
fine.
you have. And you're only gonna get one of those after hours.
Right. I understand,
Okay,
but we've only gotten one of them before. We will only get one of them in the future until we have some other arrangement or some resource that's dedicated
Okay.
to that.
well, you understand. I'm out of this, go ahead.
Okay, so we basically hit that one.
So,
Yeah,
do we
but-
want to go kind of page by page?
Yeah, we do, because I had to go back a couple of pages.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Maybe, I think, you're the most vocal in this, about this.
I mean, that's all.
Why don't you sit down? Why not sit down with Chris, and come up with something, and then in the next meeting, say that, okay, these are the main changes, and then be done with it.
So I agree. I don't disagree with that, but I believe that it's very important for the rest of the people at the table to have input, because just because it's the way I think it should be does not necessarily mean that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I got better ideas than he does anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion, except that there are a lot of things in here that it would be best for council to be able to discuss, and here we have it on the agenda and we're all here.
And it's perspective. There's different perspectives, right?
He can still get in the weeds with us on some of the details, but there's, like the fee amounts, I think the council will want to
I'm gonna be
discuss.
all over that.
Exactly, right. So, so if y'all want to go ahead, I would support we go ahead and make some time for discussion tonight.
I do have something to say. The ordinance number at the top of this is 2026. At the bottom of the page is 2025.
Because you guys were given this ordinance, that specific ordinance back in 2025. And that was, so we redrafted it to make sure we amended all previous ordinances. And that's why it has 2026 on it. Once we get it dug through, chewed up, spit out, we'll reformat it, make sure formatting is correct, wording is good. And the good thing is Lee will be here next Tuesday to help, because she is the one that drafted this ordinance originally off some other ordinances that she thought would be a fair park ordinance, because we didn't have one that we knew of at the time when we were looking at this. And then we found one that was back in 2018. So that's what we're going to, with this ordinance, once it's decided, it will amend all other ordinances. It'll fix all that.
Page two, spell check.
It will all, those are little things.
Okay,
What page are we on?
I want to go to section 3, prohibited activities,
Awesome.
We're going
because it's
backwards.
park hours, and I think that's one of the things that's,
Absolutely.
it's an absolute nightmare. I am of the belief that the park needs to be open 24/7. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I believe that we have a park that is, we have ordinances against curfews. We have other things that we can enforce behavior with, but you ought to be able to go down and fish at night. You ought to be able to stay in the park till 10 or 10:30. I do believe we need better cameras so that we can get any vandalism or driving issues in the park, the things that we were unable to stop, that we're not going to stop anyway, because in the past we've locked the front gate and not the side gate, and it makes no sense. Let's give them a sneakier way in if they want to come in and do something dangerous or illegal or whatever. I think we have enough things in not only city ordinances, but laws that we can curb behavior that we want to curb. But I'm not crazy about the resource of, and this says from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. What time do you unlock the gates? 6:45 today. What time do we lock the gates? Roughly 9 p.m. And that's just sometimes. I would honestly like to suspend that, if it's possible, to suspend that hours until we decide on a time, if you guys don't agree 24/7. I'm not saying that the park can go all night. We have noise things, we have gathering things. We can say that, but you really shouldn't be able to, I don't think we should limit people that want to fish, especially if we get a fishing pier or some of those kind of things that, catfishing is done at night, and we could say no swimming after dark. We could say, lots of things that would curtail behavior we don't want to see. But to lock the gate and unlock the gate, I think is an undue burden on park and, police staff.
Well, and I think it's, it's not the most welcoming thing to lock it up either. You know, I mean, if we wanna make this park welcoming to everybody, locking it doesn't seem like.
And what do you do about an RV that's over there overnight? Locking them in?
That's my
Well,
question.
so I feel like, and just maybe wrong on this, but I'm gonna throw it out there. We had discussed the reason why we were closing the front gate and leaving the side not fully locked, but there was a lock for the people that were staying overnight. That way they could get in and out, and fire and emergency services could get in and out as needed. How that was being done, I don't know. That's how it was discussed.
And nobody would think about going in the side gate if it was closed. You see what I'm saying? I understand the theory behind we're gonna leave this side gate unlocked so that the RVs can get in and out if they need to, or emergency vehicles need to.
Mhm.
But nefarious people are not gonna go look and say, oh, the gate's locked. Or this side gate's not open. There's not more than one way in. They were coming in through the back of the ham beds. So, I think we have to look at it from a realistic perspective, and that is, we can't really lock the gate, especially if we have someone in there overnight. We don't really have the resources to do the same thing. So why don't we make the park open 24 hours and force the curfew?
What curfew are you talking about?
11 o'clock, is that what it is for under 16?
I think that's supposed to be removed or invalid.
Oh, okay.
It should be.
Paul, you had something you wanted to add?
Well, I was gonna say,
I think it's supposed to be,
the way it
I think
was,
they passed the law.
if a camper was in there, that's when it'd be dummy lock, right? And that was only for them to get in and out. But they knew that if somebody came in other than them that was allowed in that time, to contact Hunt County Sheriff's Office, they contact them. That's how that worked back in the past. That's how it should have been, because, and I'll tell you, some of the campers I've talked to, that when we would close it, felt more secure in there. Whether you can walk in or not, that's irrelevant, but they would call us. But they didn't have people driving through while they were camping.
Well, John, I wanted to ask you, because you've been here and then even in the past, and this has gone back and forth over time. From the law enforcement side of it, what are y'all's thoughts?
Back when I started, there was no gates or nothing. It was just all open. Everybody went in and out. So, a lot of them are like me. Back then, I liked the nighttime. I enjoyed the party at night. Less crowded and everybody. So I was 24 hours open. Get to use the park whenever, they're gonna walk in, people are gonna do crimes, whether we lock the gate or not. So park's there to enjoy, so enjoy it any hour that you want. If you can't sleep at night, want to go walk around the park, you should be able to go walk around the park. I mean,
It should be the safest place in the city.
Yep.
In reality, that we should make that the safest place in the city.
we might add a little more lighting, and that way the trails.
I agree with that.
Put up some more cameras, and that way, things it does.
What is our plan for responding to crimes between 2 a.m. 6 a.m. or whatever time we don't have patrol?
They usually call me and I come out anyway, but
Okay.
the sheriff's department usually gets there before I do. That's how I jump out of bed and get fed. So hopefully, in the next budget, we may have 24-hour coverage to cover all of this too. Or during the summer times with the shields up, that way with the resources we have now, we'll be able to further into the month.
So what do you guys think? What do you all think about the hours?
I would say 24/7.
16-hour shifts?
All right, what about like the bathrooms? Do we want to leave those open 24 hours?
So I actually think the bathrooms should be locked at night, because that's when most of the destruction happens. And if you're in there overnight, it poses a problem, but that does, that's when the vandalism happens. That's our biggest expense, is the bathroom. We could just say that the park is not, the bathrooms close at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. or whatever time.
And that can be posted.
Yeah, that can be posted on the doors.
Okay, so I wanna
That's not fair.
go back real quick, so we stay on track. 24 hours,
Okay, here's my feelings on it, because I agree with what Paul was saying. When I used to go camping all the time, I like to go places where the gates closed at night,
Yes.
because there was like a lot of stuff that would go on after hours. Now, if I was camping, I'd want to be able to use the shower in the bathroom if I wanted to go up there and use it, because that's what I did when I camped.
For a smart one.
Midnight?
Yes, when you go to bed, take a shower.
Okay. That's fair.
But if they know what the hours are, I guess they could work it that
You
way.
do smart locks on there, they do code or something, the code can be changed.
That's an idea, yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
And they can be locked too by time or whatever, unlocked by time. You don't have somebody else.
yeah, because they're Wi-Fi,
Yeah,
so
their Wi-Fi is all that.
And it can even just be on one if you want. So the campers can use it.
I have one bathroom.
I know y'all are looking
That's a
at,
good suggestion. That's a good suggestion. Yeah.
It's all automatic.
I know y'all are looking at putting up more cameras and all that kind of stuff, but if they want to go fishing at night, they can always go down here by the bridge. Just saying, there's, plenty of open space down there for fishing.
You might have better structure.
so you're kind of thinking that it needs to be locked at a certain time.
I mean, even if it's 11 o'clock at night or something, if I was camping out there, I would feel more secure about it. And they just need a code that they need out.
I know at this, like the state parks, it's locked. I mean, it's just a
Yeah.
gate lock and you have a combo, like, so when you check in, here's the lock, it's locked this time. If you need to come in and out, here's the code.
Yeah.
I'm sure they
We got
change
paid to
it
get in the
frequently.
state park anyway.
Well, it's also true, yeah. I'm just about like, camping security.
Or if you're camping, you're paying.
Anyway, that's my thing.
Charge you in the park waters.
That's fair.
Oh,
That's fair.
Your thoughts?
I was thinking 24/7, but the restroom should be open. This is how people talk to each other. Yeah, the park is open, let's go. They're not thinking of if the restrooms are open or not. So they come in, they see the restrooms closed, they just piss around the building. I mean, that's what should happen.
That's true
Right,
too.
but-
Yeah.
Supposed to have been more the cameras up.
Yeah, exactly. That's a fair point.
I think keep it open.
I'm,
Bathrooms at night. I mean, it's still gonna take resources, for somebody gonna have to go down there now at 11 o'clock at night and lock it, so why would we not lock the gate, lock the bathroom?
so extend the hours then, because 9 o'clock is ridiculous. Um,
But I think that was just a general idea that was given.
So originally it was daylight to dark. And it sounds like
yeah,
this one
that's-
got a time
that
put
is
on it.
That's arbitrary, right? And it changes every day by a minute or two.
How hard would it be to put a gate open up?
Impossible to manage from an HOA that has 71 people.
Yeah.
Impossible to manage.
And we call
But what if they just
Yeah,
close, what if they
repair
just
people.
close?
One,
it
yeah,
out
and you repair the gate once a month.
the automatic gates are a pain.
The guy who has one on his shop, trust me. I'm in favor of 24/7, but I am okay with 11 to 6 a.m. being the close time, or midnight to 6 a.m. being the close time.
So
I'm amenable to that too.
you gotta be careful with that because then who's gonna go up there at midnight and lock that?
They're gonna come at 6 a.m.
Don't we have a police officer on duty at midnight?
Not every day.
Every day or not every day?
every day.
Okay.
They do that.
So that's a midnight call, is to drive through the park and lock the gate.
So you don't think the electric gates would be bad that way?
No,
Or
no. Oh yeah, they'll work for a month and then they'll have to fix them. There's just way too many variables with our ground and everything else here. It is extremely difficult to keep those operational. And we do have we have a police officer on duty. Every night at midnight, they drive through the park and make sure that everybody's out. Because that's the other thing you got to do before you lock a gate, is make sure everybody's out.
The
And
boat trailer's still sitting in the.
yeah, whatever, so,
My biggest
there's a truck in the, what do you do as a police officer at you get there at midnight to close it down, and there's 2 boats with empty trailers sitting at the point.
Well, they get locked in and then they call Hunt County to have us come out. and walk on.
If we have a sign that says
Just leave
it
it
closes at midnight.
Oh,
Yeah.
midnight, yeah.
Put rules and stuff on the sign.
I do think
Go in there
good
and
signage
let
would be
them know
helpful.
that
Right.
At midnight, the gate's gonna be locked. Yes,
If you're on the water, you'll be locked in.
I think,
put all the rules and regulations on the sign. Everything.
I'm gonna say 24/7 because I think we're adding layers of complexity to what we're trying to do. And until we have the resources and the budget to sustain that, we're gonna really add a lot of layers onto already strained resources. And I would rather spend additional money on some cameras and some lights, and let's thwart the nefarious activity and then learn over the next 6 months, 8 months, because we can change the park hours easily, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be in the ordinance. Right, I mean,
in the ordinance,
but
but
I'm
it's a
thinking,
quick
yeah,
updated
yeah, it's
ordinance.
a quick to update an ordinance. If we also, hey, you know what, this 24/7 is not working, let's do,
So the
you know.
way to make this easier, the way that Lee drafted and organized this, so the ordinance is here, then the attachment is the rule. So if we ever want to change the rules, the ordinance isn't changing, the attachment would.
so we can just say, public parks shall have posted hours in the rules section. It doesn't need to say,
I mean, we could, if you want to put it at 24/7, you could do that right now. And then if we want to go back and change it, then we just change that piece of it
Yeah.
later. It wouldn't be changing the actual ordinance, it's just changing the attachment to the ordinance.
Okay, so we're at 2. What are your thoughts? You didn't really chime in much.
Hours.
I think we might need a little more control for officers if we keep 24/7, but I'm okay with 24/7. Keeping it open. Okay, midnight, either one.
24/7.
sorry.
24/7?
Okay.
Okay, so when you make your amendments, we'll go with that now. I want to remind everybody, so the whole park being closed is one of the reasons I want to get this back on here, because it is an ordinance. And we need to make sure we're following it. So until we get it amended, just continue to follow the
So
ordinance.
Chris, can we suspend the hours of the park today and say, can we suspend that line because it's under review? I don't know what the rules are. So-
That specific ordinance is the 2018 ordinance, I believe, is what we're under currently, and that one's not on the agenda to amend.
Oh, okay, then we can. Okay.
So we're gonna
But that makes
change,
but those make the next 2 lines move. It is unlawful for any person to use or be in a public park when it is closed, unless it's closed for an emergency. or
that's what I
something
was
like
about
that.
to say,
Yeah.
is that we wanna keep in mind weather and things like that, because we do like to close the point when it is a little too muddy for safety.
Yeah.
So I would leave that line in there.
I'd leave all of them. There, yeah,
So I'm just gonna take out the hours and put a phrase that it is open 24 hours unless there's a temporary closure. Does that make sense?
Or otherwise decided.
Yes.
Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Next,
next page, age requirements. I think 12's a little old.
Oh, wait,
Page 6.
okay, yes, but I used.
Yeah, section 3, it's,
Yeah.
age requirement. On a 10 or 11, 9, 10, 11-year-old can't be over there playing basketball without your parents.
Not Carrollton in 1975, right?
I understand that, but I wasn't in Carrollton in 1975, I was in far north Dallas. And I was 13, so, am I just crazy? I don't, I don't know 13-year-old, 12-year-olds today. I don't know 10-year-olds.
I have a 12-year-old. I think 12 is an okay age. Anything younger, you're kind of worried. Being near the water and all of the other things, you would pose a safety.
I didn't say it was safe.
Asking whether we make that rule.
Yeah.
Does law enforcement have an opinion on this?
Well, the only thing,
How are you gonna tell if they're 10 or 11 or 12? Show me your ID, kid. I want to use your license and proof of registration, please.
because, the state says that 14 and under is a child, so if we put it as child, we have 14 and under would have to have a parent, so anybody older than that. Older than 14. Yeah.
I think it's
I like
14.
14. 14 seems a little bit more.
I didn't mean to
mature.
make it older. If y'all think it needs to be older, that's fine, but I thought 12 was too old.
I would just follow with the law. We are, if we
Keeps it
allow
streamlined.
that, and something does happen. Child out there.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, you could take the age and call it a minor, right?
You got. Minor.
Minor 17, okay.
So we want to
Child.
We might want to not touch this one.
Under.
leave it.
About
alone.
leave it
Child,
alone.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
careful what you wish for.
Okay.
So leave it.
Leave it at 12, is that what everybody agrees on?
Yeah, that's, I mean, to me, it's a parent thing anyway. I mean, I wouldn't want my kid out there if they were younger because they're easier to persuade, let's put it that way.
Okay, so you're good? Good?
I'm good.
Okay, next.
I'm gonna save 9, the fire part, for later,
We want to
different discussion.
still kind of stay along these lines here, so everybody has a chance to review them. I know you got your comments, but like the restroom.
Oh, yeah, I'm
use and
skipping,
weapons.
I'm skipping stuff, that's true, that I
Yes.
didn't see an issue with.
Does anybody else have any other questions before he gets to 9? 4, there's restroom use.
Did any of y'all read this before y'all got,
Well, if 12-year-old kids can come to the park, it seems like they ought to be able to use the bathroom. It says 18. They have to have a parent.
No.
yeah, no,
They're saying that you can use a restroom that's not for your designated sexual gender if it's to help somebody under the age of 18. Right?
yes. So you could be a mom taking a son to the bathroom in the in the
Because
women's
he's under 18.
restroom if he's under 18.
18.
Oh, okay,
It's an affirmative defense prosecution.
gotcha.
18's a little old.
Well,
I think so
that's
too.
that's a parent judgment.
Yeah. But there's also reasonable expectation that 17-year-old needs assistance in the restroom, so
Okay.
What's the comment?
clearly drugs and alcohol and all that kind of stuff are prohibited. It's only prohibited to sell alcohol in the park. That's what it says. It is an offense under this ordinance to sell alcoholic beverages in a park or park facility without a special use permit. So it's not illegal to have alcoholic beverages. It's just illegal to sell them. Page 7, or number 7.
So you can take beer to the park.
You have an open container law?
No. We do have an open container law in a vehicle, but not walking in a park, right?
Okay.
I did not know that.
I'm looking about some beer.
What?
Could you give it
Go to
away?
the park.
Do we?
Give it away, just can't sell it.
Can you give it away?
Liability.
Yeah, right.
I'm just asking a question.
That's what the bars do, right?
Yeah, they don't have their license or whatever.
You cannot establish a private club in a park.
The other guys have booths set up. One of the
Yeah, donate here. Donate here, pick up over there. So,
John's trying to say something.
That's the way it worked in the past, when they put on the events, they're like, that's mom stuff, do the alcohol, they did for, the fee to get into the game store. That way it covered it. They didn't have a permit, then they started getting.
What do you mean?
TABC permit.
Goes back.
different era of West Tawakoni.
Yeah.
Another one of those.
So I thought we had it prior to that there was no alcohol in the park. No?
Not that I recall.
Okay, maybe it was just kind of an
And
understanding.
Yeah, glass bottles is there
Yeah,
somewhere.
glass bottles is in here.
Selling it without a permit, which that was done for events.
You gotta get the permit. from the TABC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, cause like if we have, so events, if there's somebody that does dirty sodas or whatever that have alcohol in them, they could do it if they have their TABC, their license, their liquor license
But they had to get a special use permit from us.
from us, right? And we should charge heavily for that. Heavily. Well, they're gonna make a fortune.
Okay, well, I was just, that answers my question. That's what I was, just, I guess it was just an understanding or misunderstanding.
I'm gonna skip down because to past fires, because I want to talk about that later in another part of the agenda. We need to add on 10 under fireworks. It says it's an offense under this ordinance for any person, firm, company, corporation, or association to cast, throw, or fire any squib, rocket, cracker, tornado, whatever, any of that. Technically, we were on the water, so it didn't count. Is that right?
Correct.
So, but I think we might want to add to this that it's unless it's a city-sponsored event. And, you know, we could do a special permit for fireworks as well, because I can see where the boat, where the doing it on the water didn't work because of, you know, high wind or I don't what for whatever reason, lake was down 300 feet. You know, I can see that being an issue in the future where we would want to have an option to be able to do fireworks.
They could go in the water and stand in the water and shoot it off.
As long as you're
in the water.
As long as you're on a dock that's over the water, it's legal. It's not in the city limit.
Do we want to attach a permit to this so we can kind of maintain who's doing it out in the park?
I would think a special use permit or at least some kind of permit would be something we want to do.
Yeah.
In the future.
But because we already have, it's in the city limits, so we can't shoot fireworks in city limits anyway. So.
Just win.
Nobody said where they.
That's not on the agenda tonight.
This thing lights up like a firecracker.
So it's not like war.
How apropos.
Let's stick to the park tonight.
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna do something with unless it's a city-sponsored event and a special use permit is required.
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody agree?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna reserve that one as well for later.
Anybody have any other questions on this page before Greg runs away with the next pages?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
There are a lot of golf carts here. I don't think they're gonna tear up the grass. We want to keep them out of there?
I had the same question on electric scooters, electric bicycles, and I think that was electric scooters and electric bicycles.
So what's the question?
Yeah, that's on the next page, Ramsey. I didn't get there yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
not on the page.
So number 12 is to so it's saying they
Motorized
operate
vehicles and
ATVs.
equipment. I had my notes on the next page. Go ahead.
Well, I just wondered, I mean, could ride my golf cart through the grass, ain't gonna hurt any.
Unless it's
Not
muddy.
every golf cart.
Well,
Yeah.
I agree with
If we get a clause like such as to damage the grounds or something like that.
Yeah, so we have, there's an environmental disturbance clause, which is the one right before it. It's an offense under this ordinance for any person, firm, company, corporation, or association to destroy, damage, deface, or remove shrubbery, trees, soil, grass, turf, or other vegetation, rock, mineral, or any other personal or real property, or dump any type of trash or debris. I mean, to leave that like it is.
Right.
You know, electric bicycles are a lot more popular. That's considered a motorcycle in this description. If you go back to the first couple of pages, an electric bicycle, an electric scooter, you know, I mean, and even just a push scooter or whatever.
I have a question for John on this, because at our 4th of July event, you shut down a little boy and made him put his little scooter thing away or whatever it was. What was your reason for that?
Scooter police.
No, because riding at high speed, you know.
Yeah, he was a danger to people walking.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it was.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's perfectly fine for us to put limitations on things during.
This is reading except in certain areas, drives, or pathways. So that way, I mean, it shows that some of these types of vehicles can go,
Where would that be?
it's in the same section. Right
Yeah, how do you know where it is and where it
Where do
isn't?
you-
Well, I mean, that's where the signage comes in. I mean, and there is some signage out there, no driving on the grass.
Because people camp are gonna bring the bicycle.
And I think that's kind of that maybe what that was trying to refrain from, no driving across the park.
Yeah,
grass.
we don't want an we don't want an 18-wheeler driving through the middle of the park to drop off a carnival ride.
Yes.
Well, how do we word that? What's the right way to say that?
There's so many different.
I mean, I think it's what I'm reading is that it's only those certain areas that should be allowed to ride on.
Also counts drones and airplanes as well.
It says including when it owns to, yeah.
I can't take my drone out to practice if the field doesn't have 5,000 trees. Learn how to fly.
I think.
I mean, we don't have any signage that says that you can't. So I think that may be where we would include signage in those designated areas. Or a set of rules.
Well,
Y'all thought-
How do they regulate airways?
I think the FAA,
I think we leave the drone part to the FAA.
I think our police officers have run.
Yeah, but they also carry guns. And unless a limited number of them are limited to that. So.
I think the drone part,
This is not a legal limit.
No, it's just, yeah.
I'd be in danger everybody if I had one. Look at myself.
I just don't,
It's not that you can't ride them at the
no,
park.
but it
They
says you
can't
can't fly a drone.
in certain areas. I mean, so you would,
Yeah,
You
so I
cannot
get a drone for Christmas. Christmas morning, I go over and I want to fly it, and I have no idea how to fly it. And I want to go somewhere where there are not a billion trees. So I go to the park where there are not a ton of trees in the big center, and I sit there and I learn to fly my drone, and I practice flying my drone. Is that
I think
breaking
we
the
could,
ordinance?
I think we could take that out.
Yeah.
But it was probably put there because of the water plant. So we could put signs on the gate of the water plant that says no drones in this area.
That's good to have, John. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
There you go. Do we want to workshop this section with Greg? Because I really think we probably could get to pretty reasonable. Yeah, we could fine tune this one and bring stuff back to council that would probably be agreeable.
I think everybody has the same general idea.
Yes, it's not as.
We just got to come with the right wording.
Yeah, we can handle that. It's not as various like ours.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody have any questions after that? Abandon any animal, ride or lead a horse? I don't think service animals are okay. All the other animals have to be on leashes.
Can you throw your fish back?
Well, it depends on if they're over 10 inches or 18 inches.
are you, it says there's a part out there for service animals, but the way I read it, unless service animal can't beat it. So I can't take Hank out there and go walking around him.
What else? Can take animals that walk around?
Well, this says,
It says you cannot allow them to run at large.
Yeah, you can have it on leash.
It says permit an animal which is not a service animal
To assist.
to enter or remain inside the park or park facilities.
Or if somebody's standing there with their animal and arguing.
That's really broad.
Yeah, that really should just say that. Because aren't we just trying to avoid
Animals at large.
animals at large,
Have your animal
loose
on a
animals?
leash.
Okay, so even
And it
if we
says that
do
on
that,
But it says unattended. You cannot leave them unattended. Cannot let them run at large.
And they're supposed to be on a
No
leash.
leash no more than 6 feet
So we
long.
can take line 4 out of there, I think.
line 4 reads what?
Permanent
Permitted
animal
animal.
which is not a service animal used to assist the person with a disability to enter or remain. I mean, oh,
I mean, our
It
dogs,
it shouldn't have to be a service animal. Any animal should be on a
We can
leash.
just scratch that one, go, build that.
And then you
Right,
just
but
pick
what
up after them.
Yeah, service animal or not. We need to,
Well, yeah,
we need
yeah.
pepper leaf areas and we need the facilities to be able to pick up after them and dispose of it. That's absolutely part of the plan.
Pretty somebody brings a cow.
A cow?
It's not gonna be on a leash.
Paul, are they allowed to have a cow
Wow.
on a leash inside the city?
You can have a buffalo or bison. I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
What's
right.
only a
Highland.
couple,
Can't ride or lead a horse.
One's less than 1,000 pounds and it's cute.
yeah.
It's gotta be Norfolk.
Only,
How do we know if it's 1,000?
they can bring it, but only if they bring a barbecue grill with them.
So, do we wanna keep line 4?
I don't think line 4 needs to be there.
No.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's gotta go.
Because everything else, I think, pretty much addresses the animal issues.
Could you put a size on that? Could you say any animal over 125 pounds is not permitted?
You're going to go to the Great Danes?
150 pounds. I mean, that cuts out the buffaloes and the steers and the, you know.
How you gonna measure?
Well, we're gonna have to give John
Just for dogs.
scale.
Yeah.
Just for dogs. You know, just allow dogs.
No cats.
Line 4 just needs to go.
I have a lady that, I have a neighbor that wants her
There's
cat on
plenty
leash.
on animals without line 4.
Alright,
My cat wouldn't get on the leash. Okay.
That are an animal in the object.
glass containers.
So this is where I think we should add that, patrons who do bring their animals are responsible for cleaning up after their animals.
It's on there.
It's in there.
It's in there.
That's number
Where
3.
is
It's 3. It's right above 4.
Right above 4, thank you.
Right
Is it
above the
right
one we're
after-
trying to get rid of.
Right before 5, or right after 4 or 2 or something like that.
It's right in there.
Got that. Number 3.
Oh, excreta. I didn't know that word. Didn't realize that's what y'all were talking about. It's 3 syllables.
Any other animal questions? Okay. Number 14, glass containers.
Absolutely,
Keep that.
keep that.
Signs.
Fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Failure to notify, that's a rough one to enforce.
Yeah, I think it's to help with our liability.
Yes.
I don't even have to do this. Anything else on this one? And then go to the activities that are allowed versus all the no you can't.
All the stuff.
No, why are those like section, where are those have dots, like 4.0 little one?
Isn't that-
Some part.
We'll work the formatting out. So these are saying that all these things require a permit.
Yeah, and that's the one that bothered me about the birthday party. And it's not specifically the birthday party, it just, I think we need to find a way to word it so that people can use it for big, if they reserve it.
Subject to the effect that pavilions are available for use as a first come, first served without reservation. But if a reservation is created, that is the,
Yeah, that's who gets it.
yeah. I don't know how you say that, but
Yeah.
Should
Okay.
the city
Leave it
mark
there.
something on the pavilion for this?
Yeah, there should be some signage. I think a signage.
there should be better signage as to which pavilion is which, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, like a big
And
sign.
5, you know, we call it the point, we call it Veterans Memorial, and then we have the 3 down, you know, we don't, how do you know which one is
Yeah.
which?
We can definitely do some new
There's
signage.
a lot of things we need for signage.
Yes.
We'll talk about that also later.
And it has to be designated somehow, because if it's not all permitted to use, and then somebody shows up and you're already spread out, it's gonna be an event to try to get those people to unpack, pack
But you also could call and say, has anybody reserved the park, you know, Pavilion 2 for Saturday? No? Okay, and take your chances. You know, but what's gonna happen is people are just gonna say, let's meet at the park. And, you know, look for an open spot. Is the way I would expect it to happen, but I don't know if that's the way it's gonna happen. But
And that's why with reservations, we are putting signage out there saying this is reserved for this person from
yeah,
this
when
time
it's
to
reserved, it should say something very,
It is
very
posted,
clear.
yes. It is red and hanging.
Yeah.
Next section?
Sale of goods and off services, or are you down that far yet?
I think you
Activities allowed.
Camping,
1.001.
Yeah.
sales and good services. Yes, I'm now where you're at.
I don't have any problem with, I don't have any comments on any of that on that whole.
Anybody have any questions on those?
Where are we now?
The sale of goods and services.
Where do they,
Oh.
where's the tin camping at? Is that down? by the
So there's a
pond?
couple different actual spots for it. The main is gonna be that middle section, so, a lot of times it's where the vendors end up setting up. Right next to the RV pads here, and right over here is tent camping spots, there's water and electric there.
Is there no camping down if you're going down the point on that way?
There is, but I don't think it is well defined. It's something that should be a little bit better.
Rusted.
You could,
Primitive.
you could
Sure.
make a map part
Yes.
of this attachment that designates what's where.
Got a somewhat of a digital map already created.
I have one of those big pictures that's
Yeah.
overhead.
I created a digital map for this past event, so it's something that can be evolved.
We can workshop that with Greg.
I've just got a suggestion, sure. Have we made a sound amplification yet?
I'm wherever y'all wanna be.
It's, yeah,
That's where we're
I mean,
at. We're
sale
not
of goods
set-
and services. Clearly, if you're gonna set up shop in the park, you should have a permit and how are we dealing with the new Texas rules on food trucks and all that?
We haven't had any encounters with it just yet.
I mean, because July 1st was when the
Yes.
rules changed, so July 4th, we did have encounters with it, we just didn't do it.
What's the rule?
It's a statewide permit instead of a county and
All,
city permit.
all of the food trucks that had them, they already had their state.
Right, they already had, well, they're either, or they had their application.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, yes, they had their application and I do think some of them had more documentation on it.
So we should probably have Shannon talk to everybody about what we're doing on food trucks for, city permits, because those are still allowed. And there's lots of rules that changed July 1st. That's a different code enforcement thing, not a park thing.
Amusement rides. There is a permit for adding a bounce house with or without water to your city reservation. And, I mean, I do think that should be.
Absolutely. They absolutely should have to have a liability policy.
No, do those not tear the grass up?
Not really.
But if they did, they'd be against that clause up.
Yeah, we can take it up there.
Should that insurance name the city as an additional named insurer?
Yeah, anytime.
Because,
Yeah.
because if it doesn't name the city as an additional insurer, then you have to do that part and win against the insurance company elected.
That is good one.
So we're gonna add insurance policy must include the city of West Tawakoni as a named insured with the permit. There aren't gonna be any more of those Friday afternoon permits issued.
Must be
So
turned
if
in
you're gonna
three.
bring a bounce house, you probably do need to think in advance.
The insurance policy must be turned in 3 days prior to the reservation date.
Okay.
And you get the whole park permit.
Does that happen very often?
A couple times a
I
year,
mean, just like the not city stuff.
couple times a year.
Yeah, so I've got a question on that, the whole part. The way I read this is if somebody has, let's let's use the jet ski race as an example. And the whole park, the way I read this is they have the whole park. I can't go in there. Right? But I ought to be able to go in there.
I believe, I thought it was still a public park.
Yes, this came up before, that whole situation where you rent the whole park, but it's a public park, can't keep everybody out. There was discussion about not renting the whole park for that reason. Just renting, the point was a discussion at one point. It has been an issue in the past about renting the whole park out.
Can we do that on a case by case basis? Because when you think about who's gonna rent the whole park, it's,
Like the chamber.
yeah, the chamber does it, fire department does it with Easter eggs, chamber does it with the Catfish Festival. You know, we had the jet ski races last year. I don't wanna make it difficult for them to get what they need by trying to create something that will I don't, for something that might happen. You know what I mean? I don't ever see us having an event where the park is 100% closed. Nobody else can come in. I don't believe that, you know, E-Systems is going to run down here and rent the entire park out like it's Six Flags and, you know, put people at the gates and not let our citizens in. I don't see that being something that happens. And if it does, then we would have to figure out a way to either deny that, because we do have a whole page on denial, and or we figure out a way to do something else. I think when you rent the entire, I think if you rent the entire park, it gives you the RV pads, the pavilions, and the, you know, use of the water and electricity. It does not give you 100% occupancy of the park.
Like the jet ski.
Yeah.
They did that, but it was open to public, it was an event. They want
Exactly. They want, you know, so I would say that maybe what we do is just put in that section about renting the entire park, that rental is, it's exclusive use of the RV pads, water, electricity, pavilions, and not necessarily that they get the entire park.
Yeah, you could probably say, you could probably just say, you rent the whole park, but not to the exclusion of.
Yeah, you're renting the whole park, but you're not the exclusive use of it. You have
You
exclusive
don't get
use.
the
Yes.
excluded shit.
Right.
Because you kind of got to look at that. You know, if somebody rents the whole park and then they bring in 12 food truck vendors and they bring in 12, pop-up vendors and whatever, they bring in all that stuff themselves. They rented the park for some dollar amount, and then they charged $100 a person to get, you know, a booth to get in there. But the park's not there for them to make money either. That's the cost of the city. Or the fee to rent the park needs to be enough to cover it.
Okay, section 5.
Standard boilerplate, you gotta give me a permit, you gotta apply for the permit, we have to approve the permit.
That's denials.
Yeah,
We'll go through the permit itself and make sure it's aligned with these.
Yes. There might be some reformatting, which would be great.
because it covers all those things I just said about vendors and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff in there anyway. And this is only for renting the entire park, this section right here,
That
right?
section is, yes.
I think you could stop that in one line and just say, requires council approval.
Okay.
That's just my opinion, so that's,
No, that's good.
you know, here's all the reasons we can. No, we want to know what's going on in our facilities, and we want to have a say in whether or not it goes on there.
So make that section, the whole park just for council approval.
Yeah, you don't get the park without council approval.
And most times they are at council because they're trying to
Sure.
get it.
Sure. I'm not saying no, we're saying, tell us, come give us a reason to tell you no.
Everybody agree on that?
See?
Well, I'm just thinking on timeframes of when it's in here, like 3 days ahead of time or something like that.
There's a time. It's under section 5 because they have a whole park. It should be done 30 days.
I don't want somebody to be able to rent the whole park 5 days before they want to.
No,
That's
that's
Yeah.
actually here than there.
Okay.
So which means if they want to do it, they should be planning ahead enough to make it to the next council meeting.
Even more so, it's shall be filed with the city for consideration not less than 30 business days.
Yeah.
So
Now,
it's- we
So that's plenty of time for
we'll probably
that.
have a meeting or two.
at least.
Or 8.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So you can almost completely eliminate the section 6.001 and make it one line.
The denial?
Yeah, the denial.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
So you want section
we want that.
03
Yeah.
to
Oh, 3, I'm
discuss the
sorry.
whole park.
We want it to be able to say, Yeah.
All, anytime, yeah.
yeah, if you
required.
want it, you have to come to council.
So, section 6.001. And I like those.
But that does bring up one part of this in here. It's about the city representative that we don't have. I guess that's you guys, would be, but to rent the whole park, you gotta go through council. Right? That's what we just decided?
Yes, but then you would take that city representative out.
Yeah, because it also says the city representative may waive any and all fees for any city-sponsored or co-sponsored function for event.
Council needs to make that decision.
I think council I think council needs to be determining whether or not we're giving away our asset.
I agree.
Everybody agree?
Not that I don't trust you guys.
I want to check for consistency against something we discussed earlier. What exact line and section are we talking about right now? Where's that city representative?
1.06.002, procedure of city representative upon permit denial, and then collection and disposition.
Right. Okay, so I want to clarify, and I know we have some formatting issues. The section 6.001, and if you go back up, you've got section 5. And if you go back up, you have 4.003. 4.003 is the only one that speaks specifically to whole park unless it's called out within the other sections. Section 5 is about the reservation permit application procedure. So 5 and 6.001 are not talking just about the whole park. They're talking about the permits process. Those are separate sections.
So yeah, 6.01 is just saying anytime they get a permit, any denials. But that's not denials for the whole park permit, that's denials
Okay,
for
so I want
any
to
park permit.
I want a pavilion for Saturday. I come up and I give you a permit.
Whoever's at the front desk needs to issue the permit as long as you're complying with everything we put in here. That's the city representative there.
Okay,
Whole park has to go to council regardless.
okay.
Is that how we read it?
I'm reading it.
And back to whether the whole park is exclusive, since 6.001 is about permits in general, we can deny if the proposed activity or use of park facility will unreasonably interfere with or detract from the general public use and enjoyment of the park facility. So if you think that that's going to keep people from just coming and hanging out at the park and not messing with the event, then you don't have to give them the permit. Okay? My reading.
Okay. But then we get down to, so are we to section 7, collection and disposition yet?
One more question or one 1.06.002.
One?
Yeah, the procedure, city representative.
Oh, okay.
Permit
So
denial.
we're not worried about
Right
that.
after section 6.03.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
You gotta think. It says if the city representative fails to mail such a letter within a 5-day period, such failure shall be deemed a granting of permission to use our pool facility.
Good catch.
I caught it because it says 10 days up above for one part and then 5 days down here, but, if you get busy and miss that 5-day period, we grant somebody permission to use the whole park, that would be bad.
That would be. We need to reword that in a way that says, my wife's calling.
I'm on some what number we're looking at.
So it's, if you're looking at the front side, so if you go to 6.003, section 6.003,
Okay.
the next one after that.
That's about denying a permit. You can't get a permit for the whole park unless it goes through council.
Right,
But this is about denying one.
right,
So you can't get one unless it goes through council,
correct.
regardless of what this says.
This is on any permit denial. This section is on like any permit.
Not just the whole park.
Right.
But I don't think council wants to be involved with every permit.
Correct, no.
No, we don't, but we also don't want to just say if we didn't respond quickly enough
That you're granted
that
permission.
yes.
What do you want it to say, Randy?
They need to be there. They need to get permission. Point blank.
Randy, what do you want that to say? How do you want that changed?
Figure it out.
The permit denial section?
No,
No,
the
just-
procedure of
just
city
that sentence.
representative.
Just that sentence that says, if city representative fails to mail such a letter within such 5-day period, such failure shall be deemed a granting of permission to use the public park area or facility as requested.
Okay, just take that line out.
Yeah, take that whole section out.
Well, it doesn't have to be the whole section.
Well, that whole,
Just that sentence.
I think taking that sentence out, does it.
Okay.
Okay.
So section 7.
fees, just want to confirm park earnings go to the park fund, not to the general fund.
So the general fund has the park fund inside the general fund.
Understand that.
But so if it's going to the park fund, it's still going to the park fund that's also still in the general fund.
I'm 100% on board with what you're saying.
Okay.
I guess what I'm trying to make sure of is that park revenue doesn't get spent in other areas of the budget.
Say no other account.
Park department. I mean, so do we need to change it because it defines the park department funds. So do we want to clarify it more or?
I believe you. I'm just saying, I'm just reiterating that.
Is it currently being done that way?
It's all park revenue goes under park revenue.
But it's in the general fund and it's in a different little,
Then it's fund.
Yeah,
Take this little 7-digit number or whatever.
because you've got revenue, and
10
you've
cents.
got expenses.
Sure.
So you can put it here, but then what you're asking for is to ensure that on the expenditure side, that it's reflected there.
Yes,
Yeah.
where those
Into
two
that
balance
same
out.
line. So we need to find language that says we tie those two.
That's all I'm really grasping.
Yeah, exactly. It's not an exchange fund or an enterprise fund, so we can't just say it just goes in and out of the same line.
Exactly right.
Section 8.
The only question I had, clearly you can charge residents, non-residents or whatever, and business entities different amounts. I think in fact that's a good practice to have resident fees, non-resident fees and, for-profit and not-for-profit fees. But I think that I don't want to get caught up in defining what everybody is. I would much rather set standard fees, and if we need to discount those, or we need to waive those, or we need to do something because it's beneficial to the city or the citizens to do that and encourage people to use the park for events, then it's much easier for us to say, okay, the park costs $1,000 and we're going to waive that, but there's value there. And we're not setting it as a value that's so low that we're not getting the event or the events that we want because our park is considered of low value.
Gotcha.
And it's not of low value.
So it looks like you have a comment about the city sponsorship.
Yeah. So is this is now that we've had the discussion about council approves the
Whole part.
whole park permits, this really doesn't apply. I don't think council needs to approve anytime y'all want to give away a pavilion or a camping spot or whatever. You know what I mean? Well, we don't want to give away. Yeah, it's just only whole park.
Yeah.
I just couldn't tell there was a difference. I struggled to tell there was a difference between whole park versus.
Yeah, we'll try to get the formatting little. This has artifacts in it.
Yeah.
Section 9.
Go back just to the top on C and D. I just want to make sure that we are talking about that we're gonna be able to post fees and make them where everybody can see it. We expect to be paid for everything we do,
Yes.
but we as a city can make exceptions to those expectations.
Yes.
I think it's really important for the park and for the city to begin to promote the fact that there is value in the things that we have, and there's a cost associated with having those things, and that we can't just give them away willy-nilly because 20 years ago we did it, or one time this happened. We have to establish some boundaries.
Yes.
Determination of reservations. I don't know how much time we're going to spend on people fighting over spot 3,
That does
but
not
it does
ever-
happen. So I think this is perfectly acceptable. Residents get first pick, or should get precedent, but it should be on who got the reservation in first. If both came in at the same time or even on the same day, then a resident gets preference over a non-resident.
Yes. Section 10. This is where if you want to, section C of it says the city representative or his or her designate is to do that. Do you want to define who that is, or do you want to leave it be?
So I think that's y'all's call. Don't you, Chris and Mary? I don't wanna tell you whose job is whose.
So in general, yes. But to be perfectly transparent, I do have concerns, because this gets into some, details on how we maintain the grounds, how we, make certain things available, et cetera. And we do have non-city employees contributing to these efforts. And I think at some point, it doesn't have to be tonight, we need to discuss whether to formalize that relationship.
Okay. Okay. We can put that on the list with the other stuff that
Correct,
we're
yes.
ironing out.
Yes.
Okay. Like where parking is allowed, where motor vehicles, motorized equipment, other vehicles may be operated, yada, yada, yada.
We're gonna make that call when we have to make it.
Yeah,
Because that'll happen in real time,
sure.
as it
And
did
then-
Friday
and it's got-
night.
Exactly.
You know, and then it's got hours of operation for a public park in here again.
If we have to change it,
We
Okay.
need to make changes.
Okay, and then Article 2, my only thing is, Chris, you're gonna hate me for this, but I fully understand why we would give the police department carte blanche with the park, but not the fire department. And that's only because it's not a city entity, because we don't list, keep West Tawakoni beautiful down there. We don't list, the EDC down there as automatic exemptions. I'm not saying we would ever charge the fire department for doing it.
The fire department shouldn't have.
So do
Every
we,
time it's,
But-
so that's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be there.
No, it does not.
So,
so do we want to,
We don't have a city of West Swampview.
right, but we have a city. Okay. Okay.
do we want to list specific
semantics.
groups, or do we want to leave it as city entities? Like, how do y'all want to work?
I want to scratch all of Article 2.
Okay.
I don't want anybody exempt from asking for the park.
We're scratching it. Does everybody agree or not agree, or,
Agree.
Agree.
okay? Cool.
I think the city can still exempt itself.
And they said so earlier in it said so in an earlier
Okay.
part that the city itself could claim the park, and they absolutely can.
Okay.
I don't see that happening without council.
All right, cool.
I guess it could. I mean, if y'all want to have a picnic,
We'll share.
Everybody vote.
y'all go to have a city picnic.
That sounds like fun. All right, next section is the fun part.
On to the money.
So I did not write this down, but I want to bring one thing up that's just absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Okay.
It's $50 to rent a pavilion for 4 hours. It's $35 to rent an RV spot with electricity overnight.
These were just general ideas given. You guys were supposed to look through these and figure out what fees you thought were best. This was literally like just,
Did everybody go through and look at the fees, and did anybody get that back too?
I did not write mine down because I have my own personal opinions and I did not want it flooded. So,
Let's go through them one by one.
so, what's this one? Oh, the deposit.
Any issues on the deposits?
So what would the
So it's-
deposit
it's
be for? Do they pay for the spot and put a deposit down?
why would the deposit be more than the spot?
And what's the deposit for?
Let's go look at the definition of
They're not
deposit.
prepaying for the spot or what?
And, or maybe the deposit is for, like, if they're, somebody's booking the RV spaces for 7 days, they put a $50 deposit in,
It's section
When they book this,
8D.
when they just pay for the 7 days?
they should.
The refundable reservation deposit will be refunded within 30 days.
Say you just book the spot and pay for the spot.
So where are you seeing the deposit listed?
It's on the very bottom of the page
No, no,
prior.
no, I'm talking about, like, to find the definition.
I've got section 8 on page number.
I got exhibit B.
14,
Section 8, we're almost there. We were just there.
section 8D.
8D.
I got you. So all fees must be paid at the time of booking, park reservation fees or
So
special
we've got a deposit. before
permits
that,
are
so
not
hold on.
refunded.
We don't want anybody in the park overnight, but then they can pay to be in the park
The refundable reservation deposit will be refunded within 30 days.
We don't want anybody in the park overnight, but then you can pay $35 and then park overnight.
Yes.
Mhm.
But it's $50 if you
And
want to
you
rent a
can
pavilion.
use the restrooms too overnight.
Yeah, and if you want
pay
a
$35.
pavilion on Saturday for 4 hours, it's $50.
You can book that overnight.
So,
Yeah, it'd be.
do we
more than
want
the,
to do a deposit to cover damages?
I
So that's
think
what this
so.
one's gonna be about.
I think there should be a deposit for damage.
So, with any fee, with any booking, there should be a $50 deposit.
I'm okay
The
with
way
that.
we're currently doing it, right?
I think we should simplify these fees too. It should not be so difficult to, there should not be a 3-page list.
So somebody check in if there's the damage after they leave or what?
Should be.
Should be.
Agree with that. I will say, I don't think we've ever had, we've had very few incidents where there's been major damages after a specific rental. Now, there's been.
What about a
damages.
deposit for a whole park rental?
That's $750.
Yes,
It's nowhere near enough.
So that covers if there's any damages.
but that's $750 plus their reservation fee.
Right.
Right, but these are these performance deposits or are they damage deposits? Or is it?
It's a security deposit. It's
Yeah,
defined.
$750 is not enough for the whole park.
Okay, what's the right amount?
Yeah, this is where we could have left these blank, but me and Lee just kind of rambled off some numbers, put some suggestions.
So which page do you want to start on?
Let's go with deposits, which for you,
Okay.
for your section that you gave me is on a random page.
Yeah, it's on a weird, it printed weird.
Yes, it did. Okay, I printed it with your comments, that's why.
Well, I know, but it printed it weird because it was Google Docs.
Fair point.
After I converted it to Word.
Page 14.
Yeah, okay,
Okay,
so
so
a West Tawakoni resident, $50 is fine.
Okay.
Do we have a not, so I think we
Yes.
should have 2 columns, resident, non-resident.
okay,
But we also need to define what a non-resident and a resident is, which we talked about earlier, that the West Tawakoni ISD doesn't qualify.
gotcha. Split
I think they
columns.
need to be I think they need to be within our city limits or our ETJ.
Or ETJ?
I would just say ETJ in general. It's a bigger,
Yeah.
Bigger area.
Yeah.
But, they are paying, could we do it by water rate, by water billing?
I mean, you can.
I'm just saying,
That's
I'm
where,
just
so
trying
I
to
would
find a
just say
way.
within our city ETJ, that's where it's a big broad, like, if you're within this bubble, you get this rate, and then at that point, you're no longer a non-resident, then you get this bubble.
I'm just trying to think of an easy way to define it for somebody that's making a reservation, right? I walk up with my water bill, I get a water bill from the city of West Tawakoni. I can then.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
you know.
so I easily identify whether they're,
Whether a resident or
considered
not
non-resident.
right? A
I
resident is
mean, we could,
defined as
because
somebody
they
who
have
has,
their inside city rates and outside city rates.
they still get a water bill.
But that water bill, just have them pay this inside city or whatever.
He's saying even if they're outside the city, as long as they're a water customer, they keep the inside rate.
If you're a water customer, you pay this. If you're a non.
Yeah, I
water
mean,
customer,
a resident is defined as someone who is a city of West Tawakoni water customer.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think of an easy way for somebody to come up here and easily prove that they are a resident and deserve resident rates.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're gonna have 2 columns, resident, non-resident.
Yes.
Okay, and then we'll define what a resident, non-resident is
So we
and
have
the
to go back
definitions.
to page,
Please don't fall.
I'm scrolling to page number. Page 5, we define resident as meaning a person residing within the city limits of the city of West Milwaukee.
So we can
Yeah,
further
we
clarify
can
that.
keep that too. If that's easy for someone to define when they make a reservation, then I have 0 issue.
But it means that you're charging your water customers outside the city limits the outside rate.
That way we can define that they would be a non-resident. Technically
Unless
not.
you,
You look at
unless
the
you
water,
don't use
you
it.
know, resident of, you know.
Or not resident, yeah.
But what he's saying is, we're gonna stick with just a resident, whether you
What
pay
do
a
they
water
pay?
bill or not. If you're an outside resident, then you pay outside resident fee.
But the water bill will help define it if they're not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, but I was just trying to come up with an easy way to tell the difference. between the
Water
resident.
bill will tell you that, though. ETJ.
Yeah, but your driver's license will tell you too.
It will, but we want to be clear, if we're good with the definition of city limits, yes, the water bill does tell you. But
What we're
What we said
saying is
before-
that people that are paying their water bill are also contributing to, city services. So then we are then again charging them for more for not being within the city limits.
they're paying for water, they're not paying property taxes.
They are paying for, but they're also paying a fee for outside the water. But that, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying it needs to be one way or the other, I'm saying council needs to decide.
I know, and
So
I'm
we clearly,
leaving
we
this
need
to
to
the,
define
I'm
it
leaving
a
this
little
to the
bit more
rest of the
clear.
room to
We're
talk
leaving-
about.
And we leave resident unless they all, majority says we need to change it.
Thoughts, Cecilia?
So the definition of the resident.
Is a
It's
resident
inside city
inside
limits.
city
inside
limits.
Yes, they are a resident inside city limits. It's how it is
That's
already
how-
defined.
And you can have
I
residents
agree with
who are
that.
not
You're
actually
here
water.
for two different definitions.
Resident, non-resident.
Resident is within the city limits.
Yeah, you live there, not pay the bill.
I think inside the city limits.
City limits is a
So,
resident.
so then we're gonna leave the definition there,
Okay.
leave it alone. Okay, so then the non-resident security deposit at 75, because the regular resident's at 50. This is just regular,
What is the deposit for exactly? What,
There's cover
Security,
damages.
yeah.
on what? Like, what are they renting?
that's on
Anything
any
but the
rental.
whole park.
Anything but the whole park.
And then when you get to the whole park-
Pavilion,
And that
doesn't
covers,
matter.
that covers damages on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happens if they damage more than 75?
We bill them, we keep the deposit and then we bill them, the remainder.
So now we got the partial reservation or special use permit, $500, and the whole park, $750.
What's the difference between park reservation deposit, special use or partial reservation, and whole park reservation? What's the difference between those two?
The park reservation deposit, whole park reservation deposit, like the same thing.
So, I mean, or it could be somebody wanting to come in and reserve more than one pavilion where they're getting a bigger piece of the park, but not the entirety of the park.
Why would they do that if they could just get 4 pavilions for $50?
That would be a
each?
partial, reservation, so then their deposit goes up to 500.
Or I could just come in and say, I want pavilions 1 through 4, and they're $50 each.
Why would the deposit be 500 on that?
That's why I'm asking.
I mean, this is up to you guys.
I think it was originally, if I remember right, whether they could rent the front part or they could rent the point. Because there was times in the past, you would have an event go on at the point. We don't have those kinds of events much anymore, but that's why it was separated.
So I mean, does anybody see a need for, I mean, I don't mind breaking it into sections, point and front.
I don't see a need in it. It hasn't happened in as far as I can remember.
We have reference to special use permit
Yeah.
19 times throughout this thing. And I think that what's probably meant by partial is special.
So do we want to take out the word
It's a
partial?
special use or partial, so special use reservation.
Okay.
So you got special use resident, special use non-resident,
And what do you want your non-resident to be then?
well, staying in line with everything else, it's 500 and 750, right? And then your whole park reservation deposit should be 1,000
$1,500.
and 1,500.
Everybody agree?
So if they reserve the whole park, and they charge to get in the park?
That depends on, there's another section earlier where we talked about whether or not they could, charge to get in the park. They might be able to charge their patrons for something. Like you could charge for, like, let's say I rented the whole park and I put 10 carnival rides out there.
Right.
I could charge people to get into the carnival part, but I could not charge a resident who wanted to come walk their dog.
What's the difference between park reservation deposit and for park reservation deposit?
Special use.
So special use, so let's say somebody wants to come in and do something at the Veterans Memorial, and they want to use the entire front half of the park for parking and everything, they might rent something for an event, right? For some kind of memorial event or something. So then they would pay the special use permit instead of the whole park permit, because they're not taking the entire park.
They just say it's special use.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just saying special use.
We're taking partial out.
Yeah.
Partial.
Okay,
Special use permits.
yes.
Bounce house without water.
Okay, so this 4 hours and all day thing, there's too many choices here.
Okay.
It takes an hour to get a bounce house out, get it all set up, do everything. Kids play on it for 2 or 3, 4 hours, and they do whatever. I mean, it's X number of dollars to put a bounce house on the park. Who's going to enforce the 4 hours?
I think part of it was like if you only want a half day or the morning half the day, the latter half the day.
You could have 2 birthday parties at the same pavilion in the same day, from like 2
Theoretically.
to 4 to 8.
I mean,
And have bounce
Theoretically,
house
you
at
could.
each one.
Yeah.
Just have one price for the bounce house for.
you could just
Yeah,
do.
I don't know.
But if you look at this, so it's including Pavilion 1. So you're getting the bounce house without water, including the Pavilion 1 for the
For
4 hours.
$70, it's $50 without the bounce house.
Is there a water hookup out there?
So that's what I'm saying. It's only an additional 20 just to have the bounce house.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is if you want to have a bounce house rental with a pavilion, let's make it a price. If you want to have a bounce house rental without a pavilion, let's have a price.
So just
Because doing the pavilions for 4 hours at a time, this just is a lot to figure out. You know what I mean? Let's make the fee reasonable and recognizable, and it's this, and you can have it for 4 hours or 6 hours, or you can rent it. You can have it for 4 hours at a time. Period. If you want it for all day, you rent it 2 times
And make it one fee.
and it's
so
2
do
times.
a 4 hour.
You get
limit.
4 hours twice.
Okay.
That makes sense? It's in 4 hour blocks, and you can do it from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You'll pay for it 3 times.
Well, I think that's kind of how it's already built in
Suggestion,
here.
you know.
It's not
There's
saying.
too many prices,
Yes.
points.
Yeah.
Why not let Chris or somebody to just come up with these things?
So
I mean, it's just a lot.
up here you got park reservation deposit special use for $500. Why do we have all these other things down here?
That's the deposit.
I know they're all deposits.
No,
These
these
are
are the
permits.
fees.
Fee is
These are the
permit.
fees.
Oh,
These
permits.
are
I
the
got
fees
you.
to do
Okay,
it.
I got
That's
you.
what I'm trying to do is eliminate all of it.
Is council comfortable with staff sitting down with Greg and workshopping these specific fees in section B?
I would say
And
you
then
gotta
bringing those
come
back
up
to you
with
on
it,
Tuesday?
know?
Yeah.
Okay,
then
so
you
you're
go
okay
back.
with it? Are you okay with it?
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
I guess you're okay with doing
it.
it?
I'm okay with doing it.
Okay, we can move past that.
Okay. So, and then C, same thing.
Same thing. Well, I'll work with you on all these and we'll get them in line with what they need to be.
Good.
Okay. This, just to go back to something, I just want to make sure that this is considered park revenue that we talked about earlier. That all of these fees are considered park revenue.
Yes.
Okay. And they go into that park.
They go in park.
Fund.
Yep.
It's under the general fund. They can only be spent on the park, and we're good. Just making sure. Just confirming it, and I didn't get a nod of the head
Yes.
from both of you.
It
Affirmative.
all goes into park revenue, and when we do budget workshops and for the past 2 years I've done it, I've always balanced out what park revenue, all the revenues that go into the park match the expenditures that go for the park.
Do they need to direct us to do this? Or we just
I
say
think
we're gonna-
everybody's already said we're good.
Okay. All right.
That's all I have.
We'll bring this back to you Tuesday.
Boy, that was a big one.
To be continued.
Okay, everybody is good with it?
So there's no action.
No action at this time.
No action. Next week, the next meeting.
We'll see, it is already on the agenda for Tuesday's meeting.
It's already on next.
Yes. Okay, if everybody's good, we'll move on. New business, discussion and or action to allow volunteers to install a flag retirement pit near the Veterans Memorial at the city park. Mr. Gray?
So, we had a big discussion about how we could do a better job of a more reverent piece for the flag retirement stuff. And I learned quite a bit over the last couple of weeks about the three veterans establishments are kind of share ownership of, they trade off on who does it and everything. Anyway, so we had a post and talked about it, and stonemason from Quinlan reached out and said, hey, if y'all want to do that fire pit you're talking about, I'm more than happy to do the stonework for you. And he did all the stonework in downtown Quinlan on Quinlan City Hall. Really nice guy. And then we had a local citizen reach out and offer to pay for the materials. So total on it's about $3,000. And so this is a picture of what it's going to look like.
Nice.
And we want to do it on the, there's a concrete pad that's right next to the Veterans Memorial, right behind the picnic tables right in front of the flags. And it's like a 12-foot by 12-foot concrete pad. And I've learned more about flag retirement than I ever thought I would. And the one thing that we want to do is, the only thing we haven't gotten yet is some sort of vault for burying the ashes. So it was really interesting what I learned was the pit really doesn't have to be that nice. But the vault thing needs to be, it's important that the vault is done the way that it stays in a way that is reverent to the ashes. So, but this pit is a stone pit. It doesn't have the stone around the outside. It's just the pit itself. But we're going to get a metal grate cover for the top. And what I would hope to do is be able to get a little additional money to be able to do the vault with. And I think we'll do an actual concrete vault, very similar to what you would see at a mausoleum or a graveyard or a whatever, to be able to do the ashes. And they'll stay in there forever. And they'll stay right there at that place. Then what I would like to do is one of the things that I believe we can do as a city is we can get this on the city calendar as a park event, and it can be sponsored by our veterans establishment. So what I'm here asking you guys to do is to allow me to get the volunteers who are not, this is not DIY labor, this is a stonemason who does it for a living, and somebody to buy the materials that he's already picked out to do this. It's going to look very similar to this color and everything, to allow me to go get that done on the concrete pad in the park. I think it's a much better way to do it. I'm not knocking the way we've done it in the past. I was disappointed that I didn't know that we've done it for 11 years. And I've lived here since, I've had a house here since 2011 and never knew anything about it until after it happened. And that we've got to do a better job of making sure that our citizens know we have these type of events and that the city needs to be a part of these type of events. And we need to do them as a community, and we need to have, you know, the veterans establishments come in and help us do them. We need to have, you know, the citizens be a part of it. And this is a way to do that because it's a permanent marker. And it's not something that just happens, you know, when we announce it at council. It's on the city website calendar. It's on our calendar, and we plan for it. So what I'm asking for is permission to go put a fire pit in the park.
I make a motion that we give Greg permission to go build that fire pit.
I got a motion,
I think
and I got a second discussion.
Question.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so this fire pit's out there, how's it kept from just anybody using it?
So that's a great question because we've talked about that. So we're going to have we're going to have a wire top or metal top put on it that will be locked.
Okay.
And it's only going to be used for flag retirement.
Okay.
So no, it's not, because we had this discussion about should it be used, you know, for other things. And I'm like, I really don't think I want anybody roasting marshmallows over my flag retirement pit.
Okay.
So it is specifically designed for that. I think we'll be able to come up with enough money to put a bronze plaque on it, displaying and discussing what it's about, what it's for. And, you know, the fan club got out and got mulch for the Veterans Memorial flower bed. It looks phenomenal since it's been cleaned up.
Yeah.
So,
Where's the key gonna be? Oh, the city's gonna hold the key at City Hall?
oh yeah, see, it's a park, it's a park entity. I mean, it's a park event.
Does that pad have a purpose other than just being there in front of the
That's a
flags?
great question, and I don't know, I've never seen anything on it.
No, that's just there for the flags.
They add extra
There's the
concrete,
memorial, there's the flags, there's the pad.
Make sure it's far enough back to where,
we're gonna catch the pavilion on fire.
Yeah.
That's a great point. We all be a really nice thing to be able to put up. So hopefully it'd be cool, it'd be a good place to put a park bench, too. You know what I mean? So when we do flag retirement, stuff like that, we've got some older veterans.
do what?
Announce one of the flags, when next time they do one, announce it beforehand. or-
So
It's always on Flag Day.
It's always on Flag Day, but that's been a problem with our city forever, is getting information out there. And your service clubs turn over leadership so much, and they don't do a real good job just with advertising.
I think this can help.
Yes.
I think that if this says every Flag Day, it's Flag Day always on June 14th.
Yes,
So I think it's always on June 14th, right?
yes.
So we put on there every June 14th at 10 a.m. or whatever, we can put that on a bronze or some sort of plaque on the front of it that people will see it all year long and be reminded that that's what it is. And then in the May council meeting or the April council meeting, we talk about it and we get the veterans establishments to promote it on their social media. And then we talk about it on our social media and we have it in our annual calendar.
Can
Then
anybody bring a flag?
That was gonna
Yes.
be my
I mean,
next thing.
I have to give a shout out to the AMVETS last week. The AMVETS posted last week, a post that listed everything they're doing in July.
Nice.
Every single thing they were doing in July, and it came out on July 1st. And it was amazing. And I looked at it and I said, this is incredible. And I know that Jamie Kilgore did it, but it was like, it was perfect because it laid out in one post, I saw everything that was going on at AMVETS. And that's what we need from a social media perspective. Is
Let's
something to
stay
come out
on
of
track.
All right,
We
go
need
ahead.
to make sure we're looking at that. One last question, did you get yours answered?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so I've
wait,
got
let's
a
do
motion.
it.
Yes,
You can bring a
anybody
flag.
can.
What is that process gonna look like? I mean, if they're bringing a flag to the retirement, anybody can bring a
So
flag to
we're
that?
gonna
or-
have to set that up and set up some kind of process.
We can talk about that under special events.
Yes. We sure can. Your question is answered. I've got a motion and I've got a second.
Who was the second? Hang on. James, slow down.
Got to go.
Greg Sprinkle.
James, yeah.
Cecilia Irvin.
Good deal. Thank
Motion
y'all.
passed. Let's get that built.
What thing you doing, man?
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm not doing it. Citizens are doing it.
You're coordinating it.
So.
Okay, absolutely.
All right, we'll move on from there. B, discussion or action on future city-sponsored events. I put that on there because we need to start kind of planning ahead a little bit more. Even our 4th of July, 2 months at the most?
Yeah, May.
Yeah. Big conversation going on right now. We've got a citizen asking about the parade for Christmas. They'd like to do a water parade, a boat parade. We just need to start looking at these events, calendar, and all that, and start actually doing some planning. That was the main discussion for the parade, is the thoughts around a boat parade.
We wanna go further.
Can we back it up?
Yeah,
Sure
back
can.
up a few months.
So, yeah, so we just did July 4th, and we got a lot of good feedback from council members and the public in general. And so we can deal with that first if it's fresh, or we can deal with that last.
No, let's deal with that when it's fresh.
Okay, and then just to be fair to staff, I want to point out that this had not been, the July 4th celebration in West Tawakoni had not been a city event since
It's been years.
So
It's been a little bit, right?
Yeah.
it's not in our SOP or on our calendar as a
Yep.
city event because it hasn't been for a
Right.
good while. I think it's great that we're back. I think we as a community did a great job putting that together. And I think what I've heard is that we should engage the fireworks contractor for another year or maybe two.
At least one. So my opinion is I think that he did a great job. I think Scott did a great job. Are there hiccups? Absolutely. Will it be better planned for next year, especially if he has a thing, if we have some sort of agreement with him or contract with him or whatever. I would like to say that let's do it again on July 3rd next year because that's Saturday night. And I think I think we have a better chance of getting the turnout on a Saturday night than we do a Sunday night, even though Monday will be a holiday. And we probably can get a discounted rate off of it. What I learned when trying to figure out how much we could spend was that, there's a reason Wiley did theirs on June 29th, right? There's a reason that Quinlan did theirs on July 2nd, right? And the reason was because it's considerably more expensive to do it on the 4th. Right? So next year, the holiday will be Monday though, right?
The federal holiday will be.
Yes.
Federal holiday will be
Yeah.
Monday,
So
so,
working Saturday is not that bad.
yeah. So if we were to say July 3rd, which is a Saturday night, we do it, we get a better rate on the fireworks, we do a little better planning, we go through some of the things that we've learned this year, then I would like to see us use this contractor again, booking now, and let's start talking about how we pay for it next year now.
What we'll do is we'll put it in the budget for y'all to approve, and once that's approved, then we'll pursue a contract with them. I do want to point out, and this is not a plus or a minus, just so council is aware, I don't have the numbers yet, but we incurred overtime at probably around 2,500 to 3,000 for that event because of Public Works, police, your salaried personnel that were there. That's part of our job. But so that will be an expense that you'll see if we do this event again. What else was there? Overall, the budget that was approved was great.
Yes,
I
we
think
stayed
we're
under
able to do
budget.
everything within
Yeah, everything's
budget.
been under budget.
The music, do we want to pursue similar music, same music, any kind of music?
I thought the music was appropriate. And they stopped when the fireworks started, and they did a more
Sound guy put a track on.
sound guy put a
Yeah.
fireworks track on, which I thought was perfect.
Yes.
We talked about generators,
Yes.
so
Yeah, we can get those details.
yeah, we can
We'll
go.
work those. Do we want to, when we're planning these events, do we want to set dates? Like we come together annually, look at all the dates and go ahead and put them on?
Yes.
Or do we want like July 3rd to be the day, like July 3rd annually every year? Or do we want to look
That's
at
an
them?
interesting question. I think it depends on when the date falls.
So then we should look at it on an annual basis.
Yeah, we're gonna have a July 4th celebration. We don't know if it's gonna be
We're
on
gonna
the
call
second,
it
third, or
Independence
fourth.
Day celebration.
Right, yeah.
That's how all the marketing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
2027 is on July 5th.
Right.
Right.
I think so because it's Saturday night.
Because
I
it's
love it.
so that works. So we can start
Okay.
planning ahead for that
So
one.
staff, I think, has the general direction we need to be getting ahead of that one now that we're 11 and a half months out. Parking, we did not anticipate anywhere near the numbers that we got out there. I've heard over and over that that's the most people we've ever seen in that park. I mean, maybe in the last 5 years, but anyway, I would like for us to consider charging for parking for 2 reasons. One, is to encourage carpooling, because I think a lot of people just, hey, I'll meet you out there or whatever. And then B, so that we can really be more regimented about where we allow people to park and when. And I don't want to get into all those details tonight. I just want to kind of put it out there as something that we want to consider. And we definitely have time over the next year to get that worked out. But like, one of the lessons learned for sure.
That and trash can.
Yes.
Yeah, more trash
Already
Yeah,
on
we
cans.
need a
that,
bunch of rolling cart. We
We'll
need,
see if we can get Blackjack to donate.
Blackjack
some
needs to donate
dumpsters
those. They have a
for,
giant contract with this city. They need to donate 25 or 30 cans. We'll roll them to a central place, pick an easy point to pick them up. They need to do it.
even if we have some volunteers.
If I need to make a phone call, let me know.
Good on that.
And then getting the vendors out there sooner and having their
Yes.
vehicles.
Set
off
up
the ground.
soon. Yeah, set up sooner.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
and then, like you said, get their vehicles in a parking.
We need to
park.
charge vendors too. They did really well. There were lines, because my booth was right next to them. The fan club booth was right next to them. There were 25 and 30 people in line for Kona Ice. There were 25 and 30
Oh,
people
no, I've
in
heard from
line.
some of the other vendors, they did
They
really well. I'll have
cleaned
surveys,
up.
coming in. I'm sending them out tonight.
Th-
For road
Well
patrol
worth the
and
$75 fee to be in there and get that kind of, and limit it. I love the fact that there's only 15 RV spots and it's the first 15. Don't put, 40 vendors out there that all make $400. Put 15 vendors out there that all make $2,000.
Okay, I think that's enough for us to
Get
kind
that
of have an
started.
idea where we're headed on
Right.
that one. I think next up on the calendar would be trunk or treat.
No, ain't nothing at Labor Day, nothing at
That's-
Labor Day.
So that's one of our usuals. That's his forte.
Chief, you got trunk or treat under control?
What day are we want to do it on? So I can go ahead and post it. So Halloween is on Saturday. You want to do it on Saturday?
Early afternoon, something like that.
At dark.
We can set up a team calendar for that.
Yeah, do that.
Super
I'll
cool.
I'll do an Outlook calendar for everything.
Yeah, we can do that.
What's going on?
And then, of course, our newsletters will cover these a month ahead easily,
Yes.
and as well as the website.
Okay, so hang on. Good. So then after that, then we've got Christmas. So this year, when do we want to do our Christmas in the park, holiday in the park? I've tried, and I think we obviously every year we get better to doing something where it's a whole event. So we had a vendor fair last year, then we had the parade, and then we had pictures of Santa and the light, everything at night. So we want to do that.
Shingle
Same
Park was closed.
City event.
city sponsored it.
Saturday before the 19th.
Yeah, it's better to do a week before than it is.
I would
right
say
after.
that, or even even sooner.
Yeah,
Doesn't
some
matter.
cities will do like a tree lighting a month before.
Yeah, so like, 'cause we did our tree lighting at that same time, so if we wanted to do it sooner, like maybe the 5th, that way people that are going to see family the weekend before, because you do have a lot of traveling. I know.
I mean, we can workshop that, but it's a thing we're definitely doing.
Yes. I think we will get more vendors out there this year, especially with having a successful July 4th event, that we can have more coming out to doing something. Do we want to light up the park like we've done before? And if not better, we need a new tree.
We should be adding to that every year.
Did we already have budget for that?
We blew out the budget this year.
Right. Yeah.
We will have to.
Yeah, we didn't spend on trunk or treat.
Mm-mm. No, because it's the trunk or treat's more volunteer based. Everybody just kind of comes in and does their thing.
So we'll come back to council for a date on the Christmas celebration.
Parade. So I know you said boat parade was a question.
Yep.
Last year's parade, where it was awesome, it was extremely long. So I don't think going through every neighborhood, and I know we still miss some, is going to be the best idea this year.
You know, we have the park, we have the point. There's the park, the boat ramp area at 2 Mile. There's a lot of publicly accessible area that we could cover in a shorter period of time without just making it 2 loops around the park and you're done.
Yeah.
So I would respectfully suggest we come up with some sort of compromise there in terms of how much ground we cover. Shutting down the highway is not fun, especially if you do it multiple times. And then you can't cover every neighborhood, so picking and choosing is not really a great idea. So that's what I'm putting out there for you all is what is our scale for the parade?
So
in terms of
Boat
the
parade
land-based
scares me
parade.
because it's cold.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Do we want to stick to the land parade versus boat?
I don't have a boat.
We don't have a boat for the city police department don't have a vote. You
We
can't
don't have a
count
vote.
on your fire vote because of calls.
I'm not
Right.
right. Kids out there in December. I would say based on our experience July 3rd, that the city does not have the resources to ensure the public safety for a boat parade. I would also note that the lake itself is surrounded by how many municipalities?
Several.
Dozens, at least a dozen probably. I think that a boat parade is something that should be community, crowdsourced. That people from multiple jurisdictions can put together on their own. We certainly, would be happy to see it. But I don't think the city has the resources to support that activity.
Plus it's cold. I'm just throwing
So
that out
as
there. It
far
was
as-
super cold.
Unless we could put a boat in the budget, which then we have to get a new city
We get a
attorney.
big boat.
Yeah, they would really.
All right, so as far as the parade route and all that, that can be worked out with the date and all that. Okay.
I'd like to start doing it, since we're talking about it, marketing these at least 90 days out.
Yeah.
At the very minimum.
100% agree.
Those vendors signed up and
Yes, that way, because I mean, I felt like we were still successful with the July 4th one, but I had a little over 30 days, maybe 2 months to be able to get that out, and it kind of crushes things. Makes it-
that was a whirlwind.
I think
Okay.
it needs to be
Past
days.
ones that we've had, we all line up at the point and golf carts side by side.
I love that idea.
If they're small enough and they come out, everybody can line around the road in the park and we come through there and throw candy out stuff. Right there in the
He just
park.
can't lead. He's too fast. He can be second, but he can't be first.
Okay, but we can work on route.
Yeah,
You know that.
Okay.
So what else?
Land-based Christmas parade.
I like
All
it.
right, gotcha.
I like it.
Anything in the spring, the Easter egg hunt usually is,
The chamber of, no, it's the fire department.
Fire department usually handles that.
And the ladies auxiliary have something.
They just
Help us with those.
Yeah,
okay.
So the fire department is that
The
one.
combination of
Just-
groups.
We just
just bless it.
participate and support. And
Yeah, and they'll come before council and get approval to use the park.
Yeah, that's the
That's the way they've always done it. Yeah.
Way it needs to work.
Good to go.
So
So
they can
these are
pick
gonna be
that
our-
date when they come. We don't need to
Right.
pick that date.
so these three, Independence Day, Truck or Treat, and Holiday in the Park, are going to be our city-sponsored events for 27. Do we have any other holidays that we want to touch, mess with?
I'll make a respectful.
Flag Day.
Yeah, I was
That's what I
gonna
was
say,
excited.
for Flag Day, the city could sponsor it. I don't know about all the relationships between all the groups and everything.
I don't either.
What I would suggest, though, is kind of a middle ground, is we could do a resolution a month or two ahead of time that says, the city recognizes that June 14th is Flag Day and that, community groups will sponsor and conduct a flag retirement ceremony, and we can put it out there for the public to know about it. Resolution is an item on the agenda that we discuss and vote on, that kind of makes it official.
Yeah,
Even if
it
it's
just
federal holiday,
recognizes-
It's already done deal.
Yeah, and I
Or
think
not
the
federal
other-
holiday, it's federal
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, and I think the other part of that is that if we can do that where it's on the city's calendar like that,
Yeah.
and each one of those groups, whoever turn it is, can come to us and do the permit request,
Right.
and that will help get it into the into the web, get it into the information and get it out that it's going on by having them come in and ask for that to happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it becomes, and then they can take turns, I don't care how they want to do it, it's their event. But we sponsor that they're using the park to do it, makes it where it's a little more official and can be promoted by the city and can be recognized by the city.
So would you want us to bring you a reso and say April or May?
Yes,
Say the
Yes.
community will have a flag retirement ceremony, the city of West Tawakoni supports this event, contact just.
Yeah, this has been shared by
I
the
like that.
AMVets,
So just
VFW,
on your
and American
agendas.
Legion.
that in probably mid-April, early May.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion on it? To move on from there, there's no real action. C, discussion and or action to adopt the 2026 strategic plan, 2026, 2027 strategic plan.
So I'm going to modify this to say, we don't have a strategic plan. We have your priorities that, you know, we've tallied up through your prioritization exercise at the strategic planning workshop. And then I've drafted goal statements for your discussion and consideration using the wording of the priorities that you set and just trying to operationalize it. In strategic planning that I've done in the past, it's kind of a visioning thing where you say, our goal is the city has this, the city is this. And so these are affirmative statements that are provided to you that says, you know, that we have effective growth management, that we, you know, have an effective relationship with these community organizations, et cetera. So I'm happy to take your questions, discussion tonight on those statements, but also take them at any other time. So what I'd like to do from here is once you all are happy with how those statements look, then we turn it into a strategic plan that would actually have tactics under those. These are the things that we're going to do to get to there. In a real strategic planning workshop, we would have done this and it would have taken 4 or 5 hours, but you know, clearly we hit our mark. So that was a good baby step, strategic planning workshop. What's that?
No.
Okay.
Does everybody have a chance to look at it?
Yeah, I would love to see the sticky note thing, because I don't remember some of these things being as highly rated
We
as.
can send you the pictures.
Yeah, send me the pictures, please.
Somebody done it?
I got you. All right. Ramsey was the first to fess up that I think you all need it.
Yeah, I don't.
You took pictures yourself.
Next year we want to use dots.
Okay.
I got pictures of it.
We can do,
All right on.
both
Okay,
these
we'll get those to you all, and then if you want to send us your thoughts, we can get that on a future agenda. I just wanted to keep it fresh on your mind. We have more going on tonight.
Is everybody good? Okay.
So no action
And I
on it?
like your idea about dots instead of stickies.
Yeah, that was mine.
Ramsey's.
Oh, the Ramsey's.
Real
I'll
monopoly
take
money
credit.
next time.
Real monopoly money, I like that.
You're welcome.
Okay, all right, we're gonna keep moving then. There's no action to be taken. So 9, budget workshop, A, introduction to the 2026, 2027 budget process.
Okay, I guess I'll start. So has everybody seen the general fund and the water sewer ones that I put into the OneDrive? Have y'all been able to look at it? Because I don't want to, we've done, last year we spent a lot of time worried about format columns and things of that nature. So I want to see, is this format okay to look through? Do you have the right information you need to be able to make questions, make decisions based off of that?
Once I'm looking at it on here, I'll be able to put 2 and 2 together, because on this little guy, it was on 3 different pages and I looked.
Okay, I got you.
So this time we're going to have major decisions made by the council, and then they were going to be details, right?
Say
I
again?
understand. Say that again?
I thought, this time we're not going to go line by line on these budgets.
That's guidance that we're asking for.
Yes,
Right.
that's what we would love
So,
to do.
we'll agree on the major buckets, and then Chris will come up with, the details later on.
But the layout that she gave you, you're good with it?
Yeah, because I'm still gonna see what makes up the major.
Correct.
Yes.
We're still going to
I
give
still
you.
want to see the lines. I still want to see the
That's-
lines.
yeah, that's what
see
the workshop
We're
is
just
gonna
gonna have to
be.
spend,
As much time.
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah, we're going to give you all the ingredients to go into it, but then what you end up adopting will just be
Major.
this.
The big
yes,
buckets, right?
Yeah.
If I could make a suggestion, I don't care anything about 24, 25,
Okay,
and I still want a balance sheet.
okay.
I want to see what our,
Obligation,
yeah, I want to see what our obligations are.
asset.
Okay.
I expect that the audits will tell us some of that,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
but
They will, but that balance sheet changes.
daily.
Yeah.
Or monthly,
Yes.
so,
okay.
So,
with
okay,
those-
so you want to have, when we come to workshop, you want to have the current balance sheet, or when I post the agenda, that balance sheet as of that date. And then, so the columns are okay. You say you don't want to see 24, 25?
anybody else care about 24, 25?
You just want to
I
see
gotta
this
know.
current year?
I don't care.
No,
I want to see what 25, 26 adopted is, and then I want to see where we are against that adopted budget and then I wanna know what numbers y'all want
Okay.
for 27.
Okay, so, and there's a current one in there, so you'll see 25, 26 adopted, 25, 26 current. That current column is gonna reflect any amendments that we've made this year. So you might wanna have that one in there, because we've made several amendments, we've increased them.
I think I'd rather just see the adopted budget, and then I wanna see the amendments. I wanna see where have we added money and not have to pick it out of 70 lines, right?
Okay.
I would rather you just tell me, here's the adopted budget we had in 26, and I don't know how y'all feel about this, but here's the adopted budget we had in 26. Here are the 20 or 21 amendments we've had to do because that budget didn't meet. We didn't meet that
Can
budget.
I highlight the amended numbers?
We can, well, if you want to see the amendments
I
themselves.
don't care about the amendment themselves. I just want to see, hey, look, we
Where the
added
changes were,
$6,000.
and I can just go and highlight where those amendments place themselves.
Yeah.
Correct.
That
Yeah.
way it just
So you
catches your
got
eye.
this.
Yeah, so I can just look at it and go, okay, we were way off on this item because I'm looking at the exact same thing on the opposite side where we budgeted $6,000 and we spent 19.
Okay, so no
Right.
year prior, just current year.
And I don't know how difficult this is, but if we haven't done anything in the column since 2024, I don't care about that column being in there either.
I'm with that.
Everybody
So
agree?
That's coming to us as a workload, right?
Yes. So I can,
Yeah, we can.
we can build a filter and pivot table, but that, it's just, I like my paper.
So you want paper.
I can print my own.
Okay,
I have a printer.
okay.
Hands if you need paper at a budget workshop.
Who on these paper?
You do
Yeah, I'll
have
bring
your-
my own as
your
well.
fancy-
So, and something I want to bring up is I would like to have Fund View pulled up over here. Because as we change things, whether we change it by the dollar or percentage, it'll change my working numbers where you can see exactly where balance is out and you'll see all the total calculations at the top. And then I will build the new worksheet for the next workshop after that. Does that make sense?
Is everybody good with that? And everybody's good with not having a paper copy? With just
As
using
long as
it?
we get it a couple days in advance so we can,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
so I have to have my printer, I do have a printer, but it's slow. Not major.
Plan of attack, you want to do the smaller funds first?
Yes.
So we can knock those out.
Yes.
Are we good with that?
Smaller
Get us some-
first? Yes.
Get us some good practice rounds before we hit the big ones.
I mean, of course, Keep West Walking Beautiful EDC will wait on theirs from their board.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Any other discussion on it?
Any requests?
Any
Changes?
requests?
Colors?
Change?
And colors, I know
Anything.
colors are different for you.
I would love the columns that were over on to be red.
Okay, so overages.
Where
red.
we are
Overages
doing a
red.
budget, I would love for that to be red.
Nice.
You're gonna do that, and let's make those that were significantly on your.
Green. Well, it doesn't matter to you, you can't see it anyway.
Red and yellow, I can tell the difference between.
Just leave them black.
They're great
Don't do
yellow.
red and green.
Just leave them black, 'cause that's fluffy.
All right.
Good.
Well,
Parentheses works too.
gotcha. I'm good. So we're taking out 24, 25. I just want to reference because we've always wanted, I mean, even last year, the question was they wanted 2 years prior. We're just going current year.
You know, in a perfect
I always
world
like
for me,
seeing the trend.
the perfect
see if
world
it
for
was
me, I'd
accurate.
like to see the department head put together a set of budget suggestions and bring it to us to look at.
Of the things that they need for.
Yeah, because that way they can prioritize the things that they want to prioritize. And we just make sure it lives within the totals that we want it to be. And it also, if it's done that way, we're able to hold them accountable for living within that budget.
Respectfully, that's what you pay me to do.
That's what I
Can
was.
you also,
That's what
I-
we would also like to see stuff grouped, if there's telephone, and then there's cell phone, and then there's.
So
and it's-
I would
and
like
I-
to consolidate, kind of clean up some of these that are.
That
all
would
over
be
the place.
wonderful.
Okay.
Because it's really hard to tell, especially what, I don't need to explain to you, but it's really hard to tell.
I want to try to departmentalize some of them a little bit better too.
And,
They
and I,
weren't done properly.
I'm more, I actually would rather be able to see, but getting it in a spreadsheet allows me to go in and put all of the telephone together and all of the fuel together and all of the, you know, because I don't really care if it's the police department, administration, all of that. I want to see it where it's by category, not by department. But I can build that myself in my own spreadsheet if you give it to me.
So just keep
Get a
in mind, y'all
spreadsheet.
did say y'all didn't want spreadsheets anymore. Just want to throw that out there.
Some people still.
Is it right? So these
Yeah.
got blood on fuel, it's broken down like that.
Yeah.
Say that again.
You mean like individual people or like
Yeah.
departments?
Like individual people.
We can get you that information, but it's gonna
Right.
be, that's gonna be transactions.
That's,
That's way in the weeds.
Yeah.
the process we currently have is very much so in the weeds. We are
Yeah.
looking at a photocopy of multiple receipts and having to figure out this identifier, that identifier,
Yeah,
that.
'cause you'll have several people spending on the same account, so you would have to actually go
Why
back
do
to
they not
the.
have a separate account? I guess it's-
So,
Different
One
can
for
we, so can
water
we add
and
to the
one
next
for
agenda?
streets. and
What?
for-
Can we add to the next agenda? Are we to a point where I can say that on the, where we pass
Not
the citizens
necessarily.
input?
Oh, yeah,
Well, we can't add to the 14th.
No.
no,
Fuel cards would make this so much easier.
we have.
Fleet.
Everybody should have their own account number.
Fleet
I
cards.
think, yes, I don't disagree with you on that, but it is very expensive. And not everybody accepts them.
So,
There's gotta be a way, there's gotta be a way to do this.
one of the things we're gonna do is, put written procedures behind the budget. That's gonna be another thing we're gonna ask you to adopt, is written procedures. And any kind of purchasing cards, credit cards, fuel cards, whatever you wanna call them, are gonna have written procedures there. And that's your opportunity to tell us whether you think this is a good way to do it or not. So we'll get that in there.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Anything else? You got everything you need then? Okay,
You wanna
we'll
change
move
your
on,
minds?
number 10.
I make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
I got a motion and a second.
Let's go.
Greg Sprinkle.
James, vote.
James, you got a
Oh,
vote?
James.
So, yeah, Irvin.
Motion passed. We are adjourned at 8:54.
I know, it's confusing.
Is this my box?